Unveiling Temple Treasury's Manifesto, a new dawn for the House of Joseph. In the swirling mists of time, amidst the rolling hills of ancient Judea, a voice was born that would echo through the centuries. Flavius Josephus, a Roman Jewish historian born in Jerusalem, meticulously inked down the trials and triumphs of the Jewish people. His works, especially the seminal Antiquities of the Jews, have not just survived, they have thrived, informing and inspiring generations. Today, Temple Treasury draws from this rich historical vein to announce a bold new chapter with its manifesto, aiming to reunite and invigorate the far-flung members of the House of Joseph. This is not just a historical recount, it's a revolutionary call to unity, encompassing all who identify with the ancient lineage of Israel, whether by blood, belief, or bond. This manifesto, coupled with an expansive community outreach program, is set to redefine what it means to be a part of the Israelite diaspora. It's an invitation to all, from those steeped in the traditions to those newly embracing this identity, to join in crafting a shared future, rooted in the past, but reaching towards a new dawn. Flavius Josephus, born in the 1st century Roman province of Judea, emerged as a pivotal figure in Jewish history through his exhaustive chronicles, particularly in Antiquities of the Jews. In this definitive work, he describes the expansion of what it meant to be Jewish, a transformation crucial during the tumultuous period of the Babylonian captivity. Josephus's writings highlighted the adaptation of the Jewish identity to include all descendants of Israel, which was pivotal for the community's survival and cohesion during and after their exile. This historical shift, as described by Josephus, was not merely a survival strategy, but a profound evolution of the community's self-conception. By broadening the definition of who could be considered Jewish, the community not only preserved its heritage, but also strengthened its bonds, making it more inclusive and resilient. The biblical narrative, especially noted in Ezekiel 37, supports this expanded community identity. The scripture metaphorically speaks of uniting the divided communities of Judah and Joseph into one, signifying a divine endorsement of this broader identity. This ancient text not only corroborates Josephus's account, but also enriches our understanding of the Jewish historical and spiritual landscape. The strategic broadening of Jewish identity during the Babylonian captivity was a masterstroke in cultural and legal adaptation. This transformation allowed for a more inclusive community, which was essential for the Jewish people's survival through one of their most challenging periods. By embracing all descendants who wish to retain or embrace Jewish religious practices, the barriers within the tribes were diminished, fostering a unified identity. This unity was not without its complexities. It involved redefining aspects of cultural, religious, and legal norms to accommodate a more diverse populace. However, the benefits were clear. It allowed for a strengthened community, better able to face external pressures and internal strife. The biblical endorsement of this unity, particularly through the prophetic imagery of Ezekiel, provided a theological foundation that helped to legitimize and propel this expanded identity. This scriptural backing was crucial, as it provided a divine narrative that supported the community's evolving self-understanding and its strategies for survival and growth. Today marks a historic moment as Temple Treasury unveils its manifesto, a visionary document that seeks to reunite and invigorate the descendants of the House of Joseph. This manifesto is not merely a statement of intent, it is a clarion call for unity and action among all who identify with the ancient lineage of Israel, whether through heritage, faith, or fellowship. The manifesto outlines a series of objectives and strategies aimed at gathering the scattered descendants of Joseph. It recognizes the varied and rich tapestry of their experiences and calls for a celebration of this diversity within a unified community framework. This is a bold step towards actualizing the prophetic visions of unity and restoration that have long been foretold in Jewish scripture. In essence, the Manifesto is a roadmap for building a vibrant, inclusive community that honors its ancient roots while forging a dynamic future. It calls upon all members of the diaspora to engage in this transformative movement, promising a new era of cooperation, cultural richness, and communal strength. To bring the ideals of the Manifesto to life, Temple Treasury has launched an extensive community outreach program. This initiative is designed to reach out to individuals across the globe who resonate with the identity of the House of Joseph, offering them ways to connect with and actively participate in the unfolding of this historic unification. The outreach program includes educational workshops, cultural events, and online forums that facilitate discussions and learning about the heritage and future of the House of Joseph. These platforms are not only meant to inform, but also to foster bonds among participants, creating a sense of belonging and shared purpose. Moreover, the program aims to provide practical support for those seeking to realign with their ancestral heritage. This includes assistance with genealogical research, cultural integration, and community-building activities that emphasize the values and visions outlined in the Manifesto. Through these efforts, Temple Treasury hopes to weave a tight-knit community that stands strong in its identity and open in its embrace. The unfolding of biblical prophecy concerning the people of the whole house of Israel is traditionally understood to occur in distinct periods. The first involves the fullness of the Gentiles, a phase believed by many to have already transpired, marked by a global spread and influence of Gentile non-Jewish populations. The second period, the gathering of Judah back to the land, has seen the people of the whole house of Israel return to Israel, fulfilling numerous prophecies and reinforcing their presence and sovereignty in their ancestral homeland. The third and yet to be completed phase is the assembly of Joseph. This period, which Temple Treasury's Manifesto aims to catalyze, involves the reunification of all descendants of Israel, particularly those from the so-called lost tribes and their allies and affiliates. This prophetic vision promises a significant and transformative gathering, one that will redefine the contours of the community of the whole house of Israel and its global interactions. This tripartite prophetic framework provides a theological and historical context for the Manifesto, aligning modern efforts with ancient predictions and giving spiritual depth to the practical initiatives being undertaken. The return to the homeland, a core aspect of Jewish prophetic tradition, has already seen the significant migration of Jews to Israel. This aliyah, or ascent, not only fulfills numerous biblical prophecies, but also re-establishes physical and spiritual connections with the land of their ancestors. For many, this return is both a culmination of centuries of longing and a beginning of new challenges and opportunities in nation building. For the house of Joseph, however, the journey back is not just about physical relocation, but also about a spiritual and communal reassembly. This involves rediscovering and embracing a shared identity that has been dispersed and diluted through millennia of exile. The return, therefore, is as much about internal consolidation and rejuvenation as it is about geographic resettlement. The assembly of Joseph, as envisioned in the Manifesto, is not merely a logistical endeavor, but a profound cultural and spiritual revival. It aims to gather those affiliated with the House of Joseph from around the globe, reigniting their collective identity and purpose. This assembly seeks to be a transformative event, one that not only unites but also redefines and enriches the cultural and spiritual life of its participants. This initiative recognizes the varied experiences and backgrounds of its members, proposing a community that is united not by uniformity, but by a shared commitment to a common heritage and future. The differences in historical experiences, as well as cultural and religious expressions, are seen not as divisions, but as a rich palette from which the new community can draw strength and vibrancy. In essence, the Assembly of Joseph is about creating a space where diverse expressions of the whole house of Israel can coexist and flourish, bound together by the foundational aspects of their shared ancestry and faith. The House of Joseph encompasses a broad spectrum of cultural and religious expressions, reflecting the diverse histories and experiences of its members. Unlike the House of Judah, which has had a relatively continuous cultural and religious evolution, the House of Joseph represents a mosaic of practices and beliefs. This diversity requires a flexible yet cohesive approach to cultural and religious identity within the community. The Manifesto suggests a model where different traditions and practices are respected and integrated into a broader communal framework. This includes a re-evaluation of religious codes, educational systems, and communal rituals to ensure they reflect and accommodate the varied backgrounds of community members. Central to this approach is the Levitical Code, proposed as a constitutional framework that guides not only religious observance, but also communal governance and social interaction. This ancient set of guidelines is seen as a unifying foundation, providing coherence and continuity amidst diversity. Education plays a pivotal role in the reformation and growth of the House of Joseph. The Manifesto advocates for comprehensive educational reforms that include the revival of ancient scripts and the adoption of practices outlined in the Levitical Code. These changes are not merely academic, they are seen as essential to the cultivation of a shared identity and the transmission of cultural and spiritual values to future generations. School curricula are proposed to include instruction in both ancient and modern Hebrew scripts, ensuring that children grow up fluent in the language of their ancestors while being competent in the contemporary linguistic landscape. Public signage and official communications would also reflect this bilingual approach, reinforcing the community's historical depth and its modern relevance. Additionally, the educational system is expected to foster a deep understanding of the community's historical narratives, cultural practices, and religious doctrines, ensuring that these elements are not just preserved but actively lived and experienced by all community members. The physical location for the Assembly of the House of Joseph is a topic of considerable significance and speculation. Prophetic texts suggest various potential locations, with a notable emphasis on regions described as wildernesses or deserts, terms that could metaphorically or literally apply to numerous places across the globe. One intriguing possibility, based on biblical imagery and natural distributions, is certain regions in Africa, where conditions and historical contexts might align with prophetic descriptions. These locations are not chosen randomly, but are considered for their symbolic and practical suitability for a large-scale communal gathering and settlement. Such geographical considerations are crucial not only for the logistical planning of the assembly, but also for its spiritual and cultural resonance, ensuring that the chosen location reflects and enhances the communal and prophetic aspirations of the House of Joseph. Inclusivity is a cornerstone of the House of Joseph's approach to community building. The Manifesto outlines strategies to ensure that all members, regardless of their background or level of observance, feel welcomed and valued within the community. This includes policies that promote equal participation, respect for different practices and beliefs, and a communal culture that emphasizes unity over uniformity. Community building efforts are focused on creating spaces where dialogue, collaboration, and mutual respect can flourish. These efforts are supported by social programs, communal events, and educational initiatives that encourage interaction and understanding among community members. This inclusive approach is not just a moral or ethical choice, but a practical strategy to strengthen the community from within, making it more resilient, vibrant, and capable of fulfilling its spiritual and communal goals. As the House of Joseph moves forward, its leaders and members hold a vision brimming with potential. They foresee a community that not only preserves and revitalizes ancient traditions, but also contributes actively to global cultural and spiritual discourse. This vision includes expanding the influence and understanding of Israelite heritage worldwide, engaging in interfaith dialogues, and promoting peace and cooperation across different communities. The aspirations also include the establishment of sustainable living practices, economic models based on communal welfare and justice, and educational institutions that serve as beacons of learning and moral development. These goals are ambitious but grounded in the practical steps outlined in the Manifesto and supported by the community's collective commitment and resources. In sum, the future of the House of Joseph is envisioned as one of growth, influence, and proactive engagement with both the Israelite world and the wider global community. As Temple Treasury unveils its manifesto, it stands at a historic crossroads, beckoning all who resonate with the spirit and lineage of Joseph to join in this ambitious journey. This is more than a revival. It's a renaissance of communal identity, an invitation to be part of a movement that aims to heal, unite, and uplift through shared heritage and collective purpose. This call to action is not just for those of direct descent, but for all who feel called to the values and visions of the House of Joseph. It is a call to engage, to learn, and to contribute to a communal endeavor that promises not only to reclaim a glorious past, but to forge a future filled with hope, dignity, and profound community. Together, we can turn the pages of prophecy into a living narrative, crafting a world that reflects our deepest values and highest aspirations. Join us and be part of this monumental chapter in the story of the House of Joseph.